heard that San Antonio's tech industry is growing and that it has high-paying jobs and room for growth. But in order to make sure that those career opportunities go to San Antonians, employers say they need to have enough people here locally that have the specific skills necessary to fill positions. That's one of the reasons that schools and businesses are working together to build a workforce pipeline. From coding courses in elementary school to career prep high schools. And as a result, the generation that grew up with smartphones and social media are taking their talents into the real world before they even get high school diplomas.
Working with Tamara has opened my eyes too on younger demographic.
Learn just as much in your soft skills as you do your hard skills.
You get in what you invest.
I'm Erica Zucco, and this is Commerce Street, a business podcast from Ken's 5. In this episode, we're highlighting 2 San Antonio companies that are investing in the next generation through internships that allow the companies to identify homegrown talent and give students an option to stay in their home city. We also spoke with 2 students from Cass Tech High School. It prepares students for careers in coding, cybersecurity, IT, gaming, entrepreneurship, business, and user experience. It's an area standout for building solid partnerships and pathways to STEM and STEAM careers. First, we talked to Sean Edwards, Chief Technology Officer and co-founder of Plus One Robotics. The company modifies industrial robots to be able to work in different ways.
We take industrial robots that you might see in a car factory in the Toyota plant south of town, and we add kind of brains and eyes to them and give them the ability to work in a much more dynamic environment that you would see in an e-commerce or distribution center. And that enabling technology is something new and cutting edge. It's not something that's traditionally done. It's being done right here in San Antonio at Plus One.
Sean, why was having interns or people working from Cass Tech at something that Plus One was interested in? What is kind of the value of that?
Yeah, so there's 2 things that we're interested in. The first is we're a business, so it's important that the interns provide value to us, right? We had a lot of experience with college interns, and they have a certain level of training, and we were uncertain when we went to CAST whether those interns would operate at that level or would need additional help, but they really did. So CAST Tech interns are equivalent to what we expected out of college. So they were able to provide tremendous value, very early on, and work with minimal oversight. So we're very happy with that. The other reason it's important to us is the students at Cass Tech are the ones that are going to go on to become engineers. And for a lot of people in San Antonio, when they go on to be engineers, they don't know that they have an option to stay in San Antonio necessarily. There's fewer engineering jobs here, and by engaging them early, we can convince them that, hey, there's opportunities here in San Antonio. Once you graduate college, you don't have to look elsewhere. You can stay at home if you want to.
Another company Cass Tech is working with is Documation. It's a mainstay in San Antonio that's taken on high school interns. Here's Director of Marketing Erica Espinoza on the importance of investing in the future.
So Documation is a technology solutions company that offers IT, print, and software services. We've been in business for about 30 years, so we've been here a long time. They're heavily involved with the community and just working to service customers all over Texas.
Why was Documation interested in working with interns, and what value does that bring to have that young experience working with you guys?
Oh, it's so important to us to reach out to our young peers because, Cass Tech is just such a phenomenal school and it matches kind of our values as well. So when they reached out to say, hey, we have some internship opportunities. We wanted to see if you were interested. We jumped on it right away because we knew that the students coming from Cass Tech were just, just top notch. So it was fantastic going through that process and finding Tamara. So
She's talking about Tamara Jackson. She's a marketing intern who shared with us how it feels to be getting this real-world training.
How do you feel that your time at Cass Tech and the classes you took there and the experiences you had kind of prepared you for an internship like this?
Honestly, at Cass Tech, there wasn't like, you have to do this thing. Because at Cass Tech, yes, they have career readiness, but they also have college readiness. So it's really like, what do you want to do with your life? And there was never pressure to do one thing. And they helped to open my eyes to so many different options. I mean, I never would have saw myself as a marketing intern because I really didn't think I was qualified for any kind of position like that. But if you confront them and you're just like, hey, I don't think I can do this one thing. They're like, okay, let's open your eyes. Let's find out what's something else like you can do and stuff like that. So, they're really they want us to have our own businesses. They don't just want us to work at a business. They want us to realize that we can create our own businesses. So they were really focused on, hey, entrepreneurship, like you can do that. You can make your own business. It doesn't have to be like a super serious business. It could be a little thing. You can make an app. You can make like little toys for little kids or something like that. So they were really just trying to help us realize that making a business isn't really that hard, though it seems like it might be impossible, but we could do it at our age.
But do you feel like getting that technology preparation will help you with whatever you choose to do? And if so, what about that do you think you'll take with you?
It's definitely going to help me because I know with my generation, everyone assumes that we're tech savvy. But when I went to Cass Tech, I was like, yeah, no, I don't know what I'm doing. I was like, technology-wise, I have no idea what's going on. But it definitely helped me just having like that little knowledge, like even though I don't really remember what I was doing in computer science,
or whatever,
but it's in my brain. So if like someone was like, hey, do you know how to create this new world and like certain programs, I'd be like, yes. Like I'm not sure how I know, or like if you told me to write it down, I wouldn't be able to do it. But for some reason, it's just wired in my brain. It was definitely helpful because all of that stuff is just like sitting in the back of my brain. So if I need it, I could do something about it, but it's there.
What have you enjoyed about your internship so far, or what is maybe a skill you've learned that you think you might want to pursue further?
The people side behind social media. With social media, I was always just like, okay, I'm gonna post this thing. I got an award at school, cool, that's it. But working at Documation, it's helped me realize like there are things that I could do with a post that would grab people's attention and would want them to come to the page. So definitely the people side of social media, because I was just like, it's just for fun, it's whatever. But now I'm really seeing the professional side and how I could do certain things to get people's attention.
One of Tamara's fellow Cass Tech students, Thomas Gossman, is also interning. So Thomas, what kinds of things have you been doing at Plus One Robotics?
So originally I started doing a lot in AI and data. So I did a lot of data tagging. And then around early August, late July, I switched departments. And now I do QA. So I've done a lot of regression testing, a lot of API requests writing, and then I've also done some scripting.
So how did you learn the skills to be able to assist with these kinds of things? Were you learning at Cass Tech? Did you learn it from Plus One Robotics, or was it kind of both? How did you kind of learn these skills? Because these aren't typically things people graduate from high school knowing.
It was a mixture of both. A lot of my experience with knowing how things should work as far as scripts went started with when we had our Red Hat Academy. When that was originally new, there was a lot of troubleshooting. So I got really used to working with different containers and virtual machines to get things to work properly. And the rest of it was Plus One training. So there were still a lot of things that I needed to know, like what is the QA process? How do we streamline everything so that it's done as efficiently as possible?
And what do you know what kind of field or industry you're kind of interested in, or are you still working it out?
Yes, I like computer science, and I would like to do something kind of in the networking realm of things. So that and IT have been my main focus and I really enjoyed the I guess sort of the operating side style of programming more so than the application.
And for people who are totally clueless, when you say the operating style, what do you kind of mean? What's the difference there between that and application?
So with the operation system, it's more how you interface with other applications. It kind of interconnects everything. So with that, I'm much more interested in kind of automating things that make life easier. So if you have like a really complicated security protocol, you could easily script that and deploy it along the entire company. And that would not only make the company much more secure, but it's a lot more consistent because you're taking out a lot of the human error aspect. I will say that a lot of the internship that you learn just as much in your soft skills as you do your hard skills. There are a lot of things that you can learn in theory that aren't necessarily applied until you get into the workforce. And if you're not necessarily keeping that up, through your college experience, or it's not something that's constantly in the front of your mind, you can still have all of this hard skill knowledge. You can have a degree, but you won't necessarily be able to navigate a company or navigate working with other people in a more professional office environment.
So these internships are great for students, but what do they do for companies? Sean and Erica weighed in. How prepared have you seen some of these high school students, and how important do you think it is that this is part of the overall education system in San Antonio moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, the students coming out of Cass Tech are extremely well prepared. I am constantly amazed every time I talk to a student, the things they know, the technology, it's so new, but they're up to date. So they really do come in with a good base. But when they do come in, there's a lot of mentorship that has to go on. So Thomas has been able to work with one of our senior QA engineers, and there's kind of the theory of coding, and then there's certainly what actually happens in the business. And so I think that's incredibly important, so that when Thomas graduates high school, goes to college, he has an understanding of the difference between the theory and practice. And he has that so early on that he's going to be able to make better decisions about his career path, about his educational path. So very important that they have both of those in their curriculum.
Even in my role as director of marketing, I need technology just as much as the next person, or somebody that's an engineer, or into coding. I mean, I have to have that basic understanding of how does a website work, or how the things that we're selling, the technology behind it. So it is helpful having someone that's like-minded, like Tamara, who comes from a tech school, so she's on that same wavelength with us.
What else would you want people at home to know, either about the relationship between Documation and interns, or about the broader relationship that our education system can have with the business community to prepare our workforce?
Sure. I think preparing our students for professional development is so important, and I think every company should look into it. I think it's super important for us to be connected with the younger demographics too, to understand their needs. And I'm many years removed from high school, so what I think they might like or know is completely different than the actual truth, right? So having this connection and working with Tamara has opened my eyes too on younger demographic and their needs and wants. So in turn, it helps me in my marketing strategies as well.
One thing that I would add is this kind of partnership with Cass Tech has been really valuable, and I'd encourage others to consider doing the same thing. But the one caveat is you get in what you invest, and so one of the reasons that Thomas has worked out so well is that we've invested mentorship from our end. We've invested kind of management partnerships with Cass Tech. And so it's very important that if you want to go down this road and you want to leverage this local talent, that you understand that you do have to do your part and put in effort.
For more coverage of this story and related topics, watch KENS 5 on Monday mornings for Commerce Street segments and visit kens5.com/Commerce Street. I'm Erica Zucco with producer Kristen Dean. Thanks for listening.